Hi guys, so I'm going to read Journey into Mystery number 92. So the mighty Thor cannot reach his enchanted hammer. Is this to be Loki's final victory? I've done it. I've stolen Thor's hammer. Now the Thunder God is at my mercy. I cannot reach it. Within seconds all my superpowers will be gone. Forever. The mighty Thor. Without his magic hammer, mighty Thor is as bereft of power as mighty Samson without his hair. And yet, well, brace yourself for a hammer blow of surprise when you learn what happens on the day Loki stole Thor's magic hammer. By the gods, those moving trees are actually attacking me, and I have no magic hammer in which to repel them. Plot Stan Lee. Script R. Burns. Art Joe Sinnott. Lettering M. Ep. Thor doesn't suspect that I, Loki, have stolen his enchanted hammer. Now he's helpless to battle any menace I choose to send against him. Beyond our segment of time and space, there exists Asgard, home of the Norse gods, which can only be reached from Earth by the rainbow bridge called Bifrost. The powerful guardian of the bridge is Heimdall, the warder who obeys none but Odin, king of the gods. Halt and identify yourself. Come, Heimdall, do you not recognize Neri, handmaiden to Frigga? I think that name gets retconned to Frigga. Her actual name is Frigga. I think this is an early version though, so it's Frigga. Queen of Asgard. Aye, but you could also be that rogue son of Odin's, Loki, whom by magic can even transform himself into a lovely maiden like yourself. Indeed, Loki once took the shape of a wiggling snake to snip by me and venture down to Earth to work his mischief against helpless mortals. But I couldn't be Loki. I myself saw Loki on yonder hill. Where? I see him not. Then Neri leads Heimdall to a rise of land. There, fastened to a rock with 10 chains. Thus Loki must remain on Odin's orders till the end of time. So I see, lass. And well does Loki deserve that fate. He is the very spirit of evil, and the deadly enemy of Thor, Odin's favourite son. Flee Loki, and the disaster will surely befall both Earth and Asgard. Now that I know Loki has not escaped his bonds, you may pass to Bifrost, speak sweet Neri, as long as you like. Thank you, noble Heimdall. Oh, I did that wrong, but no word of Heimdall's conversation has been missed by the fettered god of mischief. Sweet Neri, noble Heimdall. Bah! How I hate those well-meaning, virtuous inhabitants of Asgard. They think I'm in prison forever on this rock, do they? But they underestimate my powers. Sooner or later I shall scatter these humiliating chains which my father Odin personally forged to prevent me from seeking vengeance on Thor. Then they'll learn I am not called the god of evil for nothing. That supreme do-gooder Thor will yet perish by my hand. I so vow. Meanwhile, an infinity away from Asgard, at the office of Dr. Don Blake. Now that your office hours are over, Dr. Blake, I'll deliver these blood samples to the lab. Thanks, Jane. Meanwhile, I'll analyze the set of x-rays. As Nurse Jane Foster leaves the office, beady eyes watch her. Okay, Chief. Blake's alone in his office now. It's about time. With these 2 police slugs in my stomach, I'll die of lead poisoning before I reach an operating table. I got no luck. Why couldn't one of you mugs have caught the slugs during the getaway instead of me? Don't worry, boss. Blake's a top surgeon. He'll extract the bullets. After all, we couldn't rush you to a hospital after the stick-up. They'd only sick the police on us. But Blake's a weakling. He'll do what we tell him to. And he won't file no report to the cops either, because after Blake fixes you up, we'll polish him off. Blake, we brought you a patient. He got 2 bullets. Take him out, or else. So, that police flash I heard an hour ago over the radio. They said one crook was wounded in a jewel robbery. Oh. Okay. So that's me, Blake. Now get to work, and don't make no mistakes, understand? Sure. Take off your shirt, please. Fate brought them to the right doctor. After I save this thug's life, I'll make sure that he recuperates in prison. Presently, as Dr. Blake finishes the operation. By the way, the broadcast also said that Thor was helping the police track you down. Aren't you afraid he'll catch up with you? Here in a lame doctor's office? Don't make us laugh. It's no laughing matter, my friend. Thor's entering the room now. Where? As the gunmen whirl in panic, the handicapped physician seizes his cane and stamps it on the floor. A noise behind us! Thor! In person, gentlemen. Hey, what happened to Dr. Blake? He's hiding, for fear there may be some wild shooting. Now climb aboard the operating table, boys. You're going for a ride. Then as the gangsters obey in mute fear. Why are you strapping us to the table with that adhesive tape? Because you're going on a little trip, and I want you all to have safety belts. You're going to push this thing to the police precinct? Oh no, that would take too long. You're going to fly there. First I'll tape my hammer to the table, and then give it a few rapid spins. And away you go! A few seconds later, look, Thor's hammer delivering the jewel robbers who got away. But why are they strapped to the operating table? It's a long story, mister. Just let's call it Operation Thor. Then as the enchanted hammer returns to its master, here comes Jane, returning from the lab. I better slip away and switch back to my Dr. Blake identity before she gets suspicious. And so, by the time Jane enters the office, the crowd outside told me Thor captured some thugs in here. Yes, Jane. In fact, I owe my life to Thor. If he hadn't suddenly appeared, they'd have killed me after forcing me to operate on their gang leader. So the people weren't lying when they said Thor turned your operating table into an aerial patrol wagon. No, Jane. Thor's a pretty ingenious fellow. He'd better be, to keep Jane and the world from realizing that Dr. Don Blake and Thor are the same man. A week later at a Norwegian seaport, thanks, Thor, for agreeing to provide the special effects we need in this Viking picture. Since the proceeds from my contribution will go to various charities, I'm glad to help out. It involves the sea serpent. Do you recall the script I showed you? Perfectly. Activate your mechanical serpent and row your ships into the fjord while I take off with my magic hammer. As the serpent attack scene begins. In the film story, I'm sworn protection to a good tribe of Vikings. Then when they're menaced by a sea serpent conjured up by evil Loki who hates the mortals, I'm supposed to defeat Loki's scheme by flying right into the serpent's mouth. Then, because the serpent can't close its jaws on my powerful body, I proceed to drag it down the bottom of the fjord, where the monster drowns. Well, what an underwater shot! And to think we got Thor himself enacting it. Oh, yeah, I read that, so... Well, what an underwater shot, and to think we've got Thor himself enacting it. An hour later. Now, according to the script, Loki sends a fleet of wicked Vikings who worship him to attack the good Viking village. I prevent this by stamping my hammer twice, thus creating a thunderstorm. Thump, thump. Next instant, as the tempest engulfs the invaders, those evil Vikings are just dummy figures to be destroyed by the churning seas and lightning bolts. Now to film the fleet's destruction by flying into the teeth of the storm, where no human cameraman can go. Thunderation! What film company ever before had a mythological god do its camera work for them? You bet, BJ. It's a movie first. This sea disaster scene will make film history. But in another dimension, another pair of eyes balefully watches the mighty god at work. My body is trapped here, but not my supernatural vision. There's my enemy Thor at his usual insipid job of helping worthy causes. And the irony of it, even in an Earth film he's wrecking my schemes. But as Loki continues to eavesdrop from afar. Great work, Thor. Now, in this last sequence you hurled your hammer at the mountain, causing an avalanche to bury the villainous Viking village. This is my big opportunity. Thor's hammer is made of the same magic mineral as my chains, the metal uru. That's why my chains are unshatterable. Unshatterable, that is, by anything except the greater force of Thor's hammer. Now I know how to free myself. Dear noble Thor, are you in for a surprise? And so on Earth, as Thor's mighty weapon strikes the fjord.
Look at that impact! Equivalent to 500,000 tons of TNT! Now the avalanche will bury the Viking village below.
By Odin's beard, the hammer is not returning to my hand. It's streaking away. But how? Without the speed of the hammer to carry me along, I'm losing forward momentum.
I'm falling!
Meanwhile in Asgard a flying object appears. My powers of sorcery have worked. I've caused the Uru metal of my chains to attract the Uru metal of the hammer with irresistible magnetism. The hammer is smashing my chains to bits. I'm free! Cling. I've triumphed, and Thor's hammer lies here, clinging magnetically to the debris of the chains it shattered. Thor is almost powerless without his hammer, so I'll use my black arts to put an idea in his mind. Thus far Thor had only defeated me on Earth, which Thor knows far better than I. But in Asgard I am on home ground. I am a better chance to vanquish him here, so I will lure Thor to Asgard to his doom. Funny, an idea just entered my mind, to summon Odin, and I must do it before 60 seconds elapse. In the past, whenever I've been in danger, I've called upon the king of the gods, Odin, my father, to help me, and he has never failed me. Oh, great Odin, wisest of all gods, hear your son's plea and appear before me.
Your appeal has reached my ears, Thor. Wait, I gotta... Okay. Your appeal has reached my ears, Thor. What trouble besets my favorite son?
My hammer has mysteriously disappeared. Help me find it, for I know not where to look.
The solution of the problem requires the combined powers of all the gods. Since your hammer cannot now take you into the segments of time and space, I shall transport you to Asgard myself.
What a stroke of fortune! When Odin appears on Earth, time stands still, so I shall not turn back to Dr. Blake, even though my hammer has now been gone for 60 seconds. Once in Asgard, I can remain Thor indefinitely. My plan is working out perfectly. Odin is bringing Thor to Asgard. Now to use more sorcery to put my solution into the brains of the Supreme Council of the Gods. Presently at Odin's palace, as the ruler of Asgard calls an emergency meeting.
We have pondered your predicament, Thor, and we offer this advice. Your hammer must somehow be returned to Asgard. Therefore search for it here. Unfortunately, we cannot help you with your quest, for we are each burdened with thousands of tasks of our own. But we all wish you success.
Thank you, noble Odin. I shall begin my search immediately. Everything is happening as I desired. Now I have Thor at my mercy, on my home ground, with no magic hammer to help him. Verily, Thor has come home to perish. Soon after, as Thor enters a forest. That's it, Thor. Enter my wilderness, where I will magically transform those giant trees into the instruments of your destruction. Now, my brawny beauties, attack the accursed thunder god. By the gods, I've stumbled into Loki's forest, and his obedient trees are surrounding me. With my enchanted hammer, I could repulse this menace with ease. I had better fashion another kind of hammer quickly, for even my mighty strength cannot withstand such odds forever. That's one down. Now to fell a smaller tree with one slash of my palm. Then as Thor twists stout vines around the fallen trees, binding them together, this wooden mallet won't be as powerful as my Uru hammer, but it may suffice to keep these enchanted nightmares at bay. Thank the gods I selected timber of much tougher grain than the lumbering brutes attacking me. Blast my luck! I forgot how powerful Thor is, even without his magic weapon. I must devise a still more foolproof method of destroying him once and for all, and I can do it, for home on Asgard my power is great as his. Meanwhile, I'll soon dispose of his wooden hammer. My weapon is burning up, as if by magic. Magic! Why didn't I think of that before? Loki, that master of magic, Must have had something to do with my hammer's disappearance. The last I heard of Loki, Odin had him chained to a rock near the Rainbow Bridge. I'll see if he's still there. Thor's heading towards Bifrost. I must act quickly. I'll change those clouds into flying dragons and order them to destroy Thor by sheer weight of number and strength. Thor can't improvise a hammer now. His back is to the wall. There's no wood anywhere. This new peril can only be Loki's work. Nobody but he can transform the mere clouds into snarling, deadly dragons. But I'm not finished yet. My fingers are strong enough to gouge a stone weapon out of the cliffside. Blast him! Thor's the strongest man in creation. He's made another hammer for himself, this time out of sheer rock. And now attack me if you dare. A plague on Thor. I thought he'd be helpless without his hammer, but he keeps creating a substitute to meet each new danger. Then, as the last defeated creature flees, I'm seeing things. After striking the dragon, the hammer is not falling to the ground. It's flying on towards the Rainbow Bridge. Suddenly, as Thor notices something else, this gleaming cliff wall is not composed of ordinary stone. It contains the magic metal Uru, of which my magic hammer and Loki's chains were both constructed. I'll wager that's how I lost my hammer. Somehow Loki must have magnetized it, and it was drawn irresistibly towards Asgard, even as the stone mallet I just fashioned is being attracted to the same spot. Moments later, I was right. There's my magic hammer lying in the debris of Loki's chains. I must contact Odin instantly and tell him that Loki is on the loose again. Then, as the gods respond to Thor's signal, Odin, Heimdall, Frigga!
Yes, you villain. Thor has summoned us. You used your black arts to attract Thor's hammer to Asgard in order to smash your unshatterable chains. Then you influenced Thor's mind to lure him to Asgard, and our minds to keep him here, so that you could destroy him.
Aye, Odin, but luckily I constructed other kinds of hammers to repel the menaces he sent against me. Soon near Bifrost.
Return again to Earth, my son, and fear not. We shall find a better way to imprison the sinister Loki.
I hope so, father, for if Loki ever really breaks free, all the hammers in the world might not stop him. Later that night at Dr. Blake's office. Gosh, Doc, take it easy. You could hurt a guy with that rubber hammer. Don't worry, Mr. Jones. Dr. Blake is very experienced in using a mallet. Jane, honey, you don't know the half of it. In the end. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you could like, comment, and subscribe, that'd be appreciated. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys later.